Welcome to another episode of the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast. My name is Lee Hayward, and in today's podcast, you're going to get a coaching call that I did with some of the members of my Muscle After 40 Blueprint coaching program. And in this podcast, we're going to discuss nutrition tracking and some advanced strategies and inner game mindset strategies when it comes to following a realistic and sustainable fitness and fat loss nutrition program. And what you'll find is it's not always about having the perfect program, having the perfect calories and macros and everything else. It's about how to find a system that is good enough, that keeps you on track and is sustainable and something that you can keep up over the long term. So we're going to break this down in this coaching call / podcast and give you some real world action steps that you can start implementing immediately.
Welcome to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast with Lee Hayward and Jeff Samataro. Since 1997, Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding has been online helping guys to build muscle, lose fat, and become the best version of themselves. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with real-world practical fitness and nutrition advice to look your best, improve your health, and feel confident in your own skin so you can live life to the fullest without having your body holding you back from doing the things you want to do. So if you're ready to get started, let's jump into the show.
Do you folks track your calories religiously? Mike said he got off track tracking, but do you track? And I'll just chime in first. I don't really track my calories strictly unless I have a specific body composition goal, or I feel like I'm doing all the right things and it's not working. Because I follow the precision nutrition habits most of the time, and I find that alone can move me in the right direction. I can just know, okay, I'm eating the right foods that are going to lead to the goal that I want to achieve. But back in the day, I used to meticulously track everything. Now, it was a lot harder years ago because we never had all these apps that we do today. It was literally get your calorie counter food book. I have it here somewhere, actually still on the shelf. I don't know where, but big old thick calorie counter books, almost 1,000-page of food listings. And then just your spiral bound notebook, the pen and the calculator, and that was meal tracking. Right? Just writing it down. And I have pages and pages. I remember going through contest prep and having 12 plus weeks of exercise books written out with meals that I ate, right? Just logged out that way. And I found doing that for several years, it just become ingrained. So right now, I don't strictly track my calories unless I feel like I want to do a reset, or every now and then I might do it just as we have a new calorie tracking app within our coaching program that we're beta testing. So I've been utilizing it there, but I don't really focus on it because I know if I want to dial it in, I just focus on the habits, the protein and the veggies and eating to 80% full, all those core habits, that's good enough for most part without breaking out the calculator or the apps. But with that being said, I know some people love it. Some people are numbers oriented. They just like having that structure, that guidance. So where are we on the on the scale? We can even start with Mike Brown. I know you pretty much track. You enjoy tracking, and that's just something you do.
I really only track my protein and carbs. So
Okay.
I don't pay attention really to the total calories because I'm eating the same thing day in and day out. So it's pretty much going to be the same, every day.
So do you manually log it all though every day?
Mhm.
Just okay,
Yep.
you still log it all, even though it's pretty much autopilot for
Yep.
going out to dinner or something. It's
Right. Yeah. There's the rare thing where we go out for dinner or something like that. That'll be different. But yeah, I still do it every day.
gotcha.
In fact, I just updated it right now before we got on the call.
Okay. If you enjoy it, that works for you, go for it, right? There's nothing wrong. Yeah, if that's a habit, that's a routine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it, and in fact, it's better if you do enjoy it and keep that as a habit. But some people do, some people don't. I know I've talked to Jeff Samataro about this before. Jeff, he used to track when he was learning nutrition, but now he just focuses on the habits, and that's enough to keep him on track. And he's not shooting for a target like a bodybuilding competition or a photo shoot, or like I have to be this, I have to hit my peak by this date. He's just focusing on the lifestyle side of things, which is what precision nutrition really tries to emphasize, is living this as a healthy lifestyle, not as a I'm on a diet. Right? Because there's a different mindset when you're on a diet versus I'm eating clean and healthy for life. There is no finish line, if you will. It's just I want to continue the journey and enjoy the process. And Mike Brown, you're using MyFitnessPal, right?
That's right.
Right. No. Like I say, I mentioned earlier, we're currently beta testing a new nutrition tracking software. I know the developers of this app. There's some local university students who are developing it, and they got a government grant to develop this app. And there's a dozen or more programmers involved with it. Like there's a lot of people involved with this app, and they've invested so far, thanks to government funding, about a $500,000 into this app. So it's not like some rinky-dink thing. Like they're trying to create an app that's going to rival the likes of MyFitnessPal. That's the goal. And it's using AI based tracking technology. So you can literally take a photo of your food and it will tell you the calories, macros, everything based on the photo. It may, because it's AI, ask you for some more details if it's not totally clear on like what it is. But the key feature, the main one that I've used and like, and that the original app was built around this, was just the talk feature. Say like, hey, I had chicken, rice, and vegetables for lunch today. And then it'll say, okay, well, how much chicken? How was it cooked? Right? And you can just talk into the phone, whatever, two grilled chicken breasts, a cup of steamed rice and steamed vegetables, right? Mixed vegetables. And it will literally calculate it out. And if it needs additional information, it will ask you for additional information for clarification. So it's run off Chat GPT algorithms, and then it searches the food databases to get the nutritional information. But the goal of the app, the reason why they created it, is to make it so simple that people do it without having to get bogged down with the details. Like, and the feature too as well, like the taking a photo. Like, if you're out to a restaurant, that's when people say, screw it, I'm not tracking my calories. I'm at a restaurant, I have no freaking idea. But you could literally take a picture of your food and say, okay, I'm out to Applebee's and I'm having whatever. This is on the menu, snap a picture, and it will boom, calculate it out for you with reasonably good accuracy. I mean, sure, there's margin of error. There's always margin of error with any nutrition tracking, but it'll still put you in the ballpark and keep you on track versus not tracking it at all. That's a common thing. One person in particular, he was always saying, I don't know why I can't lose weight. I'm only eating 1,000 calories a day and I can't lose weight. I don't know why. He was 250 pounds, right? Struggling. And I can't lose weight. I only eat one meal a day. I don't understand what's on the go. And I said, okay, well, let's start tracking it. And then sure enough, MyFitnessPal, he was using that. He logged his food for a couple days, and then there'd be like 3 or 4 days with nothing logged. And then all of a sudden there'd be another 1,000 calorie day logged, and 2 or 3 more 1,000 calorie days. And then there might go a week with nothing logged, and then 2 or 3 more 1,000 calorie day entries. And I say, like, just curious, like on those days where nothing's logged, like, I guess you're not eating anything, are you? Oh, well, those are the days we went out to the restaurant or we had family dinner, and I didn't know what the calories and the macros were, so I didn't bother logging them on those days. So, yes, he's eating 1,000 calories a day on a good day, and then he's probably eating 5,000 calories a day when nothing's being logged. Hence the reason he's not losing weight. Anyway, this gentleman went on Ozempic, and now he's losing weight wonderfully. So he's truly eating a calorie deficit now, thanks to the wonderful world of medication. And you know what? I'm not knocking it because hey, it's progress, right? Now, could there be optimized that and everything else? Sure, but I'm not going to be one of these fitness coaches who say, "Oh, that's the lazy way out, that's cheating, whatever." Because for folks who legitimately struggle with their weight for years and they don't have the discipline or the self motivation or discipline or whatever you want to call it to actually follow a structured eating program, sometimes they need to pull out the medication route. And I mean, if that's what works for in this case, it might be the crutch he needs to get back on track. If nothing else, it's certainly given him motivation and given him hope again. So, I mean, he can certainly build off that. I was talking to several people about that. Like, I actually have several friends and that reached out to me and said that they've been using those medications as well, and that's finally helped them to get things under control after years of struggling. So it's just interesting to note. But again, that's a little side tangent there, but that's the way the nutrition tracking works. I mean, like, the numbers don't lie. If you truly are in a calorie deficit or surplus or whatever, I mean, the body will respond accordingly. But if the numbers don't add up, then your tracking methods are either not accurate, or the food you're eating in private is showing in public. That often happens as well. How about you, Scott? Do you track with any nutrition apps?
I track when I'm all in, and when I cheat, I never track. I don't want anybody to know. So
I
yeah,
appreciate the honesty.
it's it's like I don't want to be reminded, that I'm putting in all these extra calories. I'm in a state of denial when I do that. But the reality is, and because of precision nutrition and everything else I'm hearing right now, is if I really can get back to eating whole foods 80% of the time and the junk crap 20% or less, rather than flip flop right now, which I'm a little flip flop, I do fine without tracking.
Yeah.
The main thing I have to remind myself is to get the protein in, because it's hard to get protein in through whole foods for me. It's just hard, and maybe a little more expensive too. But I'm learning so much when you take a month off, even though you don't plan on it, and he's out, whatever. I've still got 3 months before the start of the year. I keep postponing a week. And now I'm like, okay, my M&Ms are gone and all the Halloween candy's gone. Went to the neighborhood. So I count my little wins. Most of the week I was good. So it's kind of like getting into a routine and just keep improving a little bit. Works better for me than when I'm all out, because I have to have an end date, because I know I'm not going to do this forever. So, but there are times when I think it is good to, dial it in and do that if you want to see a quick little bump. But I think for me and my personality, sustainability wise, no, I do not like, because I get frustrated with my phone. I like this. If I can just talk to my phone and it can figure it out for me, or take a picture, I might do that. Even with the Fitness Pal or whatever, it's got advertising, boxes pop up, and I hit the wrong thing, and now it's not one meal. It's like my whole day I ate one meal because I didn't know how to fix it to 3 meals, and I get lost in getting it all correct, which is a waste of time for me. But I do remember the days when I used to track. I'd make a little spiral notebook and do the same thing, but I was like all in. But then once again, you can't do that forever. But we all know, like, a portion size, what you teach, Lee, just the simple stuff. It's just doing it. But yeah, I don't track when I'm cheating.
Oh, and you're not alone with that. Like, most people don't, right? And most people don't want to admit when they cheat, when they fall off track. And that's part of the whole sustainability thing, is to be okay with that and realize it's only human. You're allowed to have this. And James Clear talked about that in his book Atomic Habits, where, like, being aware of it and actually, hey, I'm about to eat this cookie, or I'm about to finish off that jar of M&Ms, or I'm about to have this Halloween chocolate bar, or whatever. Like, say it out, put it out to the world and say, like, I'm about to have this. And then it kind of, like, makes you consciously aware of it, and then you can kind of, like, second guess, like, do I really want it? And if you really want it, okay, great, have it, but savor it, enjoy it, like, milk that treat for what it's worth, versus eating it, like, rushing it down, guilty, almost feeling self-conscious over it, like you're doing something taboo, and then pretend it didn't happen. Like, how often did people, like, raid the cookie jar and then, like, they gobble up the cookie as fast as they can, hope nobody sees me with my hand in the cookie jar? And like it's totally pointless because first off, the calories are in your body, whether they went in fast or slow, they're in there. So the result is the same at the end of the day. But you didn't really enjoy that cookie because you just woofed it down, try to get it in you as fast as you can, and then pretend it didn't happen. It's so ridiculous. So like if I'm gonna have something, like okay, I want to have a treat or a something, a dessert, ice cream. I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna enjoy this. And it's okay because I'm gonna enjoy this, get the craving out of the system, then I can move on and get on with the rest of my day. Or instead of having that craving build, because that's the problem with the bodybuilding contest approach or the on a diet approach. I'm not allowed to have this, not allowed to have this, not allowed to have it. And those cravings, they build and they build and they build. And then eventually, in a moment of weakness, it's like, screw it. You get that tub of ice cream, and then before you know it, you're scraping the bottom of the tub. Or you got that big bag of potato chips. Next thing you know, you're scraping the bottom of the bag. Right? Like it's all or nothing. Whereas if you allow that little indulgence, you can kind of like nip that craving in the bud, satisfy it, not beat yourself up over it, and then just forgive, correct, move on. Right? Even with your coffee, I know you've been trying to cut back on the coffee there. Like, hey, you cut back for several days or most of the week.
Yeah, and the cool thing is I appreciated my coffee a lot more because I knew to, to savor it, sip it. I pretended it was like a fine wine or something,
No.
But
But you had a bit much today, you're saying, and you know what?
well, I had this, I drove a 3 hour trip over to Tampa,
Mhm.
trying to help someone out, and then went to a dance thing that night. And because of the time change, it was actually 2 in the morning before I got to bed. And earlier in that, I drank an energy drink. I said, I'm not going to make it. And then today got up early still and had my 2 cups of coffee. And then I had to make the trip back to home, make it for this meeting. I went, I'm not going to make it. These truck stops have these nice little, they brew the coffee and everything. I mean, it's good coffee. I had 2 big, large cups. But anyway, but I find that one thing I'm kind of happy is I've never stopped working out. And
Mhm.
what's interesting is like my love handles are back, got a little bouncy, pudgy tummy. I'm at 22% body fat. I think that's pretty accurate, which is not terrible. I'm at 180, which I'd like to be at 180 and like 14% body fat, but I'm at 22.
Mhm.
But I haven't gone like, I haven't had that like, well, I still crave stuff because I'm eating crappy stuff, but I'm not like feeling weak and walking around like a zombie when I got down to 10% and I was like 159 or something. And people do tell me, I look good, but I'm keeping my shirt on right now. So it's all relative, but I still remind myself I can start to cut back now slowly. And I just want to keep my energy levels up and take my time and not try to rush it all off again. Because I have gotten a little more strength. I can feel it in my muscles and my chest, my legs. It's just my little tummy's kind of not cooperating.
Well, there's a couple things there. One, I mean, we'll just go back to the coffee there for a second. You needed the coffee today or the caffeine, right? You had a lot of
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't beat yourself up over that. I would,
No, no,
when you're back to normal, go back to,
yeah.
reduced portions. But I'm the same way. Like if I need coffee or caffeine, I would much rather have too much caffeine in the system versus dozing off behind the wheel.
Right. Yeah.
Let's be honest here, right? Like
Yeah.
what could cause more damage here? Temporarily having a little bit too much caffeine or nodding off behind the wheel especially driving home from a dance late at night and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember
It's
one time I fell asleep behind the wheel and we started to swerve off the road, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she yelled at me. She said, like, she wake the F up, right? And whoa. But it it can happen in the blink of an eye, right? It's so, hey, I would gladly have an energy drink if needed to get me home safely. But I mean, any progress is progress in the right direction. Like as we mentioned before, like we're not trying to eliminate caffeine entirely, just trying to moderate it so that you improve your sleep later in the evening.
I want to get it to the point where it's reasonable or down to maybe 1 cup so that the next time I do really go with caffeine, it'll really do something.
Yeah.
I just got to be careful because my whole life is more is always better. And it's not true.
It's an easy slope to fall into for sure. All right. The reason I'm mentioning that is because I got caught up in that trap, especially during contest preps and stuff like that. Caffeine was to curb the appetite. It was to distract me from eating. It was to power through the workouts and the cardio sessions. So I mean, like I was slamming back a ton of caffeine, like coffee plus a caffeine pill plus the ephedrine stack on top of it and everything else. I mean, like you just go, go, go. Yeah, it works in the short term. I mean, like, okay, I'm getting through the workouts, I'm losing body fat and everything else, but long term, I mean, you're burning out your body from the inside out, and eventually gets to the point where this isn't an energy boost anymore. It's just like I just need this to get through the day. Like I don't feel like I have energy. It's just this is the new maintenance now, right? 1,000 milligrams of caffeine is my current maintenance dose, right? So
Well, I was definitely
yeah,
there. Yeah, no
yeah.
doubt.
Mhm. But that's where I was at one point. I remember I was just like, this is like, where am I going to go with this? I'm not going to keep jacking it up more and more. So I did go on a caffeine detox for a while, and I told you I felt like a bag of garbage, like
Yeah.
headaches and withdrawals, and I mean just like a drug addict going through rehab or something. Like I was useless for a full week. Like I mean, I didn't want to get off the couch. I had no motivation to do anything. And eventually it started to come around, but I wouldn't recommend that extreme approach. Like just let's taper it back. And I think you can still achieve the same end result because when it comes to like caffeine and food and things like that, it's part of life. Like it's not like let's say a substance abuse where okay, you shouldn't do that, right? Like there's no snort responsibly. You know what I mean? Right? There shouldn't be that. It's like okay, we draw the line on that one. But when it comes to hey, some dessert or a home cooked meal or whatever, like there's a bit of gray area there. Like it's not all or nothing, right? And same with caffeine or with stuff like that. It's not all or nothing. So you do want to, where's that happy medium for you that allows you to hit your goals and be comfortable while still enjoying the process? And it's a fine line. I mean, you will bounce back and forth, right? Like sometimes you'll go a little bit too much in one direction, too much in the other direction, but try and keep coming back to that happy medium. So that's what it sounds like you're trying to do. And it doesn't take much to move in the right direction towards fat
Yeah.
loss, especially when you're thinking long-term fat loss. Like my goal when I was going through the whole Muscle After 40 program initially, and this before I even called it Muscle After 40, it was Lee getting in shape for 40. Like that was the program. I knew the ups and downs of bodybuilding, and I said I don't want to go through that. I just want to tip the scale ever so slightly in favor of fat loss, so I'm losing body fat without feeling like I'm on a diet. And like mentally, I said like I only need to create like 100 calorie a day deficit. That's it. If I could sustain a 100 calorie a day deficit, some days might be more, but that was my goal. Okay, I'm going to lose about a pound of fat a month. Let's say average it out 10 pounds a year. Like that's not much, but at the end of the year, if I'm 10 pounds leaner and then I can keep that up and keep moving forward instead of the other way, 10 pounds heavier, like most people
Yeah.
are, like that's how I'm going to sustain a lean, healthy physique for life, right? That was the mindset. And it took me like 2 years to finally get to the point where I was at my leanest, if you will, where I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And I don't feel like I'm on a diet. Whereas when I'd be cutting for bodybuilding shows, it's like, oh, you got to do this in 12 weeks, right? Same, what took me 2 years to do in a slow fashion without feeling like I'm on a diet, I'd squeeze that into 12 weeks and feel like garbage. So,
But it just seems, but I understand why we do that, because that just seems like,
mhm.
I'm not going to wait 2 years to get in
Yeah.
shape, you know? But to turn that around to, I want to continue to get in shape over the next 2 years,
Yeah.
and then 3 and 4. Like, I want to have a
Mhm.
goal of sustainability, that, because no one hits that. It seems like, the majority of people that are on a fat loss journey never get there. So I went on a little Facebook group that we had all done like these 90-day challenges, and
Mhm.
everyone did really well, which means we're all extreme. And then and I said, why don't we put together, how are we going to help each other to stay where we're at or close to it over the next 2 years? So we
Mhm.
called it the 2 year streakers. And
Nice.
out of about 10 of us, there's 2 of us left. After 1 year, we're in the second year now. And
Mhm.
so but there's 2 of them that are still kind of paying attention and jumping
Mhm.
back in every now and then. And so I'm just hoping, being the example. But the fact there's just 2 of us now, I'm like, by darn, I'm not gonna be the last one. I'm gonna win what I've got,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I have a little bit of a competitiveness to me, so I don't want to be the one
Wait.
that fails at the end, so it is interesting how we deal with tracking or not. And like, when you say 100 calorie deficit, I'm like, dang, you got to be pretty zoned in to know 100 calories isn't that much.
No, and that's a mindset there.
Okay.
Just the same as like 80% full. Like there's no gauge in your belly to say, oh, you're at 79, oh, you're at 80, oh, you went to 81, you overdid it. It's a mindset. It's just like I want to end the day with a slight deficit, right? That was the thought process behind it. And it was so small, like it could have been something like at dinner when I finished, like, you know what? I don't need to go back for second helpings, or I don't need to finish off Harvey's leftovers on his plate like most dads do, right? Like because kids always they leave a few bites of food on their plate and like, I'm not going to throw that away, boy. That's good food there. That could be my 100 calories right there, or simple stuff like oh, I'm going to drown that chicken breast in barbecue sauce or pile on the peanut butter on that slice of bread. It's all those little things. And I just say, I just want to create a 100 calorie deficit. So I'd be more mindful of all those little things. How can I just scale back some needless calories that I really don't want anyway, but it's going to tip the scale in favor of making progress versus slowly getting fatter? And I think that's where a lot of people screw up is like, it's because most people they know what to do. They know they should eat healthy. They know they should work out. They know they should lay off the booze, and like everyone knows what to do. But it's just all those little in the moment decisions, like oh, a handful of candy out of that bowl ain't gonna hurt. It's only one little handful. Boom, there goes my 100 calorie a day deficit. Like a fart in the wind, and because my hand dipped into the candy bowl. Simple stuff like that. So again, it's a mindset. It's not a hard set number per se. Scott, are you frozen? Are you still there? Okay, Scott's gone. He'll be back. Anything you want to add to that? What we were just chatting about that whole idea?
So I have a question. Do people plan their day, what you're gonna eat the next day, like the day before? Like, do you guys have a plan for each day what you're gonna eat?
Okay.
Simply put, yes. And but that's I said that's the app that I'm on. So I know what I'm having on Monday all the way through to Saturday and Sunday. So it's very regulated. How I prepare the food, 4 eggs is 4 eggs. I can scramble them, I can boil them, but 4 eggs are 4 eggs. I have milk, I could have it drinking it, I could add it to the 4 eggs and add the bread and make a kind of a casserole out of it. But how I make the food is different, and what I use to make the food doesn't change, but how I make the food can vary from meal to meal. So yes, I do. It's very clearly laid out, but how I ingest it, how I take it. For some days, I'll just have I'll make 4 boiled eggs. I'll have those through the course of the day, or I will scramble them, or I'll cook them in the microwave and add milk and make a casserole that way. So it depends on what equipment is available to me and what my day looks like, but that what I eat does not change.
How about you, Mike Brown? How do you go about it?
We've always planned menus as long as we're going on married 40 years, and we've always planned menus. So because then you know what you're buying when you go to the grocery store. You're not buying, oh look, this is on sale, I don't really need it. Or hey, look, there's ice cream on sale, or cookies, or you're much more focused when you're going to the grocery store. We can rearrange menus, most certainly. Yeah, but we've always planned meals. I mean, that's always, and that comes from my mother-in-law, who was a home ec major back in the 50s, and that's what she did, which is what my wife, of course, learned.
Is every day like do you know exactly what you're going to have tomorrow? Like I'll lay it out pretty much.
Pretty much. Now we may rearrange it because something comes up, we don't feel like cooking, so we go out and grab a hamburger at the restaurant down the street. They know me in there now. They make everything without salt or that sort of thing. But at least we know we plan it out so we have the food in the house, and we don't have a bunch of extra crapola in the cabinet that let's have, I don't know, a box of macaroni and cheese or something, which we don't do. So we make sure that we have the food in the house or in the freezer, in the refrigerator, or whatever.
I don't purposely plan it out, but a lot of my meals are repetitive from day to day. Like I will allow that flexibility. For me, it's like breakfast and lunch and even my snacks throughout the day. They're pretty consistent. Supper's dinner is the kind of the wild card, if you will. Like sometimes we'll change that up.
And that's mostly what we do too. It's mostly
Right.
dinner time. It's different.
Yeah. I find that a lot of people can get into a breakfast and lunch routine, especially during the weekdays. You keep that kind of stable. That's your foundation. But it's the dinner meal, like sometimes we'll change up. Sometimes we'll have chicken. Sometimes we'll have beef. Sometimes we'll have fish. Sometimes we'll have turkey, or sometimes it's wild game. Like moose season here now, so sometimes we get a fresh meal of moose or something. But it varies. So that's kind of like the wild card. And then sometimes we want potatoes or rice or pasta, but it's always the same structure in terms of like there's always going to be a protein, there's always going to be a starch, there's always going to be a vegetable. Right. So I always have that in place, but the food choices may vary. Yeah.
So how do you balance your calories that way? I'm pretty good for breakfast, lunch,
Mm-hmm.
with dinner being a free for all for whatever it is. But how do you balance, you've eaten so many calories for the day, you've got so many calories to eat during, you've eaten so many calories in the morning, afternoon. How do you balance it with dinner when you only have so much calories left?
The portions would stay the same. Like, for example, like, okay, I'm going to have 50 grams of protein that's going to come from chicken, meat, fish, whatever. So I would probably still have the same portions. I just change the foods. Now, granted, it may vary because rice, for example, is more dense than, say, sweet potato because of the water volume of the sweet potato. So for example, if you ate 50 grams of carbs from rice versus 50 grams of carbs from sweet potato, you'd be more full and satiated from the sweet potato because it's more filling, more fiber, more water volume. It's feels like you're eating more food versus the rice is more compact. I don't stress over that. Like to me, that's nitty gritty details. That's getting tangled up in the weeds. I just focus on I want my protein, want my carbs, want my vegetables. Some days it might be a little higher, some days it might be a little lower, but as long as I'm eating those foods and not grabbing the macaroni and cheese or the pizza or having the ice cream for dessert afterwards, like as long as I'm not doing that stuff, the nitpicky details in terms of, oh, today is steak, tomorrow is chicken, the next day is fish, it's not enough to really throw things off. That's the way I go about it. Now, if you're really strict with it and you want, like, you're a numbers person and you have to have exactly 2,322 calories at the end of the day, or whatever your number is, then that's where the nutrition tracking comes in, and then you can adjust it accordingly. But I don't, I allow a range. Like that's that for me, it's say, okay, I just throw out a number, like between 2,500 and 3,000 calories at the end of the day. Let's say that's my range. So it might vary up and down in that range. And I'm not going to stress out. I mean, if it's a little on the high side, a little on the low side, because I know over time it's going to average out. And just look at your results over the long term. Like, are you slowly moving in the direction you want to? If you are, great. Right? If you're not, then okay, maybe we need to tighten this up a little bit. That's the way I like to go about it without being so strict and tangled up with the numbers. Because I find when you get really meticulous with the numbers, that leads to the all or nothing trap, where some people are like, okay, I'm all in. I'm weighing, I'm measuring, I'm recording every single meal. And they do that for several weeks in a row. And then, yeah, it works. And then they're like, this is so freaking tedious. I hate this. I got no freedom and flexibility. Screw it. I'm not tracking anything. I'm going to eat whatever I want. You know, like I mentioned the guy earlier who like he had these 1,000 calorie days for 2 or 3 days, and then he'd go a week with nothing tracked, that is. And then there might be 2 or 3 more 1,000 calorie days logged, and then another week of nothing. Like his Fitness Pal log, like that's the way it was. It was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday tracked, and then the rest of the week was nothing. So you didn't go 4 days with, you didn't fast for 4 days there, I don't think. Right?
You know what's funny is
Yeah.
when I grab a handful of M&Ms, I go, that's probably 200 calories. I don't know. And then another handful, I think it's more like 500 plus another. And I would kind of count it up and I go, dang, like that's 1,000 freaking calories. I could have had some really good food. And but I'm still, bloop, and I'm going, well, let's see if it's going to show. And of course, it doesn't show right away, but
Let's just show right away.
but when you
Yeah.
can quickly see your weight go up and you don't arrest that, I know I'm at that point now where if I don't get back on track, the holidays are going to really mess me up. So this is a great time because I'm kind of a rebel anyway. So for me to have a challenge during the holidays, I do better than January 1st, when everyone else says, okay, now let's get back on track. I'm like, I can do it during the holidays. I'm a badass.
If that motivates you, go for it. Right? Don't wait for January 1st, right? Start November 1st or no, November 2nd, if you will. Start now. Does that kind of answer your question, Mike? Or do you want to
Yeah.
any
No,
more?
that answers my question.
Like, I don't want you to get tangled up in the weeds. Like, zoom out, bigger
It's
picture.
already too late. I'm already in the weeds.
They're in the weeds. We gotta get a weed whacker. Get out of the weeds. Right? But tangled up in the weeds, like that whole paralysis by analysis, like that's a real thing. And a lot of people they're overcomplicating it. And then it's like, well, once I get the perfect workout and the perfect diet and I get it all figured out, then I'm gonna start. Like, no, just start now. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just figure it out as you go. And the thing is it doesn't have to be perfect. Like that's one thing that really shocked me when I started being around people who were successful either in sports or bodybuilding or other things. It's like they're not always the ones who got their shit figured out. Like sometimes they're haphazard with things or they're just good enough. Now they might not say it that way, but like you can just tell by their actions. Like I remember we had like Mr. Olympia Jay Cutler guest pose with us and going out to dinner with him, and then saying we had Branch Warren come in and we were going out. Here was Branch Warren. He was second place Mr. Olympia uh, back in 2010, and that's around the time when he guest posed for us. I mean, we went out to the restaurant. He had a pint of Guinness. He had French fries. He had a big steak. I mean, like he's having all this stuff. And he's still like, I mean, this is his off season, but I mean, he's still got visible abs. When he flexed his quads, you can still see the crisscross striations there. I mean, sure, it's like a bit of water retention, but like he didn't care, and he was down to the pub afterwards. He was out dancing with the girls, and he was drinking shots with the boys. I mean, like he was living it up, but he was in an awesome shape, right? And even when he did his seminar at the show, because he did guest posing and he did a seminar in the afternoon, people were asking him all these details, and he was just like surface level stuff. Like, oh, as long as I get my protein, get my carbs, I'm good. Like, wasn't overthinking stuff, but he's good enough and he's good enough consistently. And then when you see him train, I mean, he's like a savage in the gym, throwing around the weights. Like he trained at Metroflex, the same gym that Ronnie Coleman did. And they're like dump truck boys. They're just like barbarians in there, just throwing around weight and like but they got it done. Like it wasn't over analyzing anything. It was just like, just get out of the way. I'm going to get in there, get the job done. Like, he didn't overcomplicate it, but it obviously worked for him. And then you get someone else, they might be spreadsheets and charts and everything analyzed and written down. And that works for them, right? You got to find like what works for you.
So Lee, on that note, are you better just to hit your macros and not worry about the calories?
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't. We actually did a training on this. I think I turned it into a podcast, but there was one of the guys in our group. Oh, geez, what's his name now? I'm brain farting his name. He's from Dubai. Oh my goodness, Kareem.
Kareem, or is it Kareem? Yeah.
Yeah, he was asking that same question. He's like, "Well, if I hit my protein intake, I might go over my calorie allotment that I have for myself." And I said, like, get your protein in. If you go a few calories over, who cares? Like, just make sure you're getting that protein in. Like, that's the main thing. I wouldn't shortchange the protein to try and keep the calories low. And you got to realize the way protein works, the calories from protein are absorbed differently than the calories from carbs and fat. Like it's less likely that your excess protein calories will get stored as body fat. Because I mean it's more thermogenic. It takes more energy to break down and digest protein than it does to break down and digest carbs, which takes more than it does to break down and digest fat. Like fat is the easiest macronutrient to turn to fat. Like it's very little calorie expenditure to digest and store fat. Bit more to digest and store carbohydrates, a lot more to digest and store protein. So ballpark 20+% of the calories you consume from protein are in the digestion and utilization of that. About 10% of the calories you consume from carbs are used to digest and process that. Only about 2% of the calories from fat are used in the digestion and processing of it. So if you overeat fat calories, it's a lot easier to get fat. And then when we look at what's the major source of calories in the standard American diet, seed oil. Like that's because everything has seed oils in it. I know you hear that a lot in the media, but like if even the so-called carb foods, you look at the label, right? It's got canola oils or vegetable oils or something oils. Like everything's got oils, oils, oils. I mean, like that's we're consuming a shit ton of fat. That's why people are fat. Like if you ate the same type of foods without that added fat in there, for example, like you made your own food versus buying the processed version, you could still eat the same volume, keep the fat calories lower, and have two totally different physique compositions. Like prime example, you see sometimes people say, "Well, I eat chicken strips and French fries, or I eat grilled chicken breasts and baked potatoes." You could eat the same volume of food, but you have two totally different physiques if you ate that on a regular basis. Right? Like the natural unprocessed grilled chicken and baked potato is going to be a lot different than the fried chicken strips and the French fries. Even though it's same core foods, just that alone is going to make a huge difference. But yeah, again, to answer your question, hit the protein. Don't skimp proteins to try and save calories. It's just not worth it. For the most, like for the stage you're at now, if someone's trying to make weight for a competition or something, okay, yeah, then you can kind of pull out the stops and for the short term. But for general long-term health, fitness, and fat loss, focus on the macros. I don't even get hung up on the calories. I just add up the macros. Like, Mike Brown, do you do that? Like, are you stressing over the calories, or are you just making sure you're hitting your protein and your
Making
carbs?
sure I hit the protein. That's all I really track. That's all I pay attention to. I don't pay attention to the fat. I don't pay attention to the total calories.
And in your case, that makes sense because, like, if you're eating natural unprocessed foods and you're not adding a lot of extra fat, fat is just by default going to be pretty low.
Right. I get whatever fat is in the food naturally.
Right.
And even like the chicken, the latest chicken we've been getting hasn't been as skinless and fatless or whatever that we've been getting from Sam's. So I've had to take a little bit more of that off myself, but I still remove it before I cook it.
Well, I had a question about if you're in a situation where you're eating too much in the evenings and then you're not that hungry in the mornings. And so I'm I could literally unintentionally fast almost until the afternoon. And then by 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm just wanting to eat. I don't think I'm that hungry, but if I start to eat, then I want to keep eating at night. And then I didn't know if that also keeps you from sleeping well if you're digesting all this crap at night. I don't know. Or if it's just too much I'm eating at night in one meal. Just putting on the weight too. But I didn't know how to get out of that kind of late night eating and get a little more balanced during the day.
I fell into that trap because when I went on the whole intermittent fasting kick, like I'm sure everybody has tried intermittent fasting or all the different diet trends at one time or another. Like we've all tried keto, we've all tried intermittent fasting, we've all tried something. I don't know if everybody tried vegan or vegetarian, but I did that one as well. Like I've tried it all at one time or another, thinking, well, maybe that's the secret, right? Maybe that's why I'm struggling because, the diet hack. And lo and behold, like you go through it and it might work initially, and you're like, oh, this is it. Like intermittent fasting, this is it, this is it. And then after 6 months or a year, this ain't it. Because I'm starting to fall off the track again. And, even though I'm starving all day, once I open up, once I start eating in the evening, it's like opening up the floodgates, and then I just can't stop. Right. So I went through it all. And same with, even when I went vegan for a while, like when that was, the pro vegan documentary started popping up on Netflix and stuff, I did that for a while. I said, oh, initially, this is it. This is it. This is the secret. Then after a while, like, this ain't it. Once it loses its luster, if you will. Right? But to address that, Scott, the simple thing that I would recommend, purposely start eating more in the morning, like especially protein. Like if nothing else, make sure you're getting your protein in. If it has to be, I mean, even if it's a protein shake, but like try to get ideally some solid food protein, maybe whatever that is. Make an omelet for breakfast or something, but get some protein in early in the day. Even if you wake up and you're like, I'm not really that hungry, eat the protein anyway. Think of nourishing the body, get it in you. And then eventually your appetite's going to start to switch where you're going to start waking up hungry. You're like, man, I'm craving breakfast right now. I want to eat. And then you get the food in earlier in the day. And then by the time the evening rolls around, it's like, yeah, okay, you're still probably hungry for like your dinner and something like that. But it's not the can't control yourself hunger where you just want to keep eating and eating. Because that when I was intermittent fasting, that's the way it was. Like I'd go all day, slamming back the coffee, keep myself busy. As long as I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, I could stay away from the kitchen and I could avoid eating. But then, okay, like in the evening, okay, I'm gonna relax now. We're gonna have dinner, and then that dinner turned into an extra helping, and then an extra helping, and the next thing you know, like, hey, I didn't eat anything all day. I'm gonna have some snacks right now. I'm gonna have something else, and then I'd end up grazing all night long and probably consume my 2,000 plus calories in this one big lump at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, that didn't feel good either. Then you'd pass out from just like a food coma, right? Whereas now I try and space it out throughout the day, and I feel it's much better on the digestion. And I think from a nutrition point of view, is much better as well because you're getting this frequent feedings. Like there's something to the old school bodybuilding approach, like the 6 small meals a day. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be six, but those frequent small meals per day, getting in frequent protein feedings throughout the day, it works. Like I mean, there's all the science guys and if it fits your macro guys and whatever, like, oh, it doesn't matter when you eat as long as you hit your macros. No, there's something to it, right? There's really something to those frequent feedings throughout the day. I started off doing that, and then when I went back to it, I was like, man, this feels good. Like I can feel better. I got more energy. I don't feel heavy or sluggish or bloated. And I don't have this uncontrollable. When I start to eat, I feel like I got to eat everything. It's like I can have a small serving. I'm good. Because I'm going to eat again in a few hours. I'm good. Like, whereas if you don't eat all day, then when you do start to eat, it's like, I got to eat it all, and I got to eat it all now. Right? I just can't have one handful of M&Ms. I got to eat the whole damn jar of M&Ms or whatever. But, so that's what I'd recommend. Start off, make sure getting some protein early in the day. Even if you're not hungry, just eat it anyway. And then eventually your appetite will regulate to that. Right. I mean, Paul or Mike, do you want to chime in on that? Like,
I
have you?
remember you telling us, Lee, that everything will work to a point, regardless of what you choose. They will all work.
Yes.
And it's up to you to decide what are you going to cycle into next? What are you going to choose next? I still remember that plant video that went wild for a while about the plant. Arnold Schwarzenegger was chiming in about how to have fit.
Game Changers was the name.
Game Changers, right? Remember that? It rippled through the bodybuilding world, right? And it sent people spinning. But like with all things, it works to a point. And Jordan Peterson is very big on the carnivore diet. Well, that's because he has a genetic, and his daughter has a genetic predisposition to handle meat, just strictly meat and some vegetables. But not everybody has that same genetic predisposition. So yeah, carnivore will work. For Mike, it helped him, others, but it will work to a point. And I think we have, like, I really like what Precision Nutrition says. Find what works and then work with it. Cycle around it. But you will never get away from protein, fat, and carbohydrates. That will stay forever, right? It's just how you get your carbs, how you get your proteins, and how you get your fats. And that's one of the probably the most liberating concepts that I carried with me through this whole bodybuilding journey. I did not stress at all. I did not. Am I getting enough? I knew I had this amount of protein to get, and chicken, beef, venison, whatever. I had fats, avocados, olive oil, whatever. I knew was there. Carbohydrates, whether it was potato or rice, it was carbohydrates. What it was, how it was, did not matter. It was that it was. I had the protein, I had the carbs, I had the fats, and it was incredibly liberating.
I'm glad you joined in the call, because that's a it's a good reminder. You know how they say sometimes people say he's forgot more than I ever know. Paul always brings up stuff that I forgot, or at least it wasn't coming to my mind at this moment but I'm glad you brought that up, because that's absolutely right. Like, everything works, but nothing's going to work forever. And you'll always see examples of, the outliers of someone who is following whatever, a carnivore diet, and they're in amazing shape and they're preaching it. And then there's someone else might follow a vegan diet and they're in amazing shape and they're preaching it. You will see exceptions and people getting great results in all the different categories. But the thing is, like, we got to zoom out, look at the big picture. What do all these diets or all these people have in common? Like, what, okay, he's following a carnivore diet, but it doesn't mean he's eating hot dogs and sausages and, garbage food all the time. I mean, obviously he must be eating some sort of real food in there, real natural unprocessed food. Same with the vegans. Like, okay, you could be vegan, but guess what? Potato chips are vegan, cookies are vegan, high fructose corn syrup is vegan. Like, I mean, I could be eating a lot of garbage and still be vegan. But the people who are successful on a vegan diet, well, what are they doing? Like, there's
in his book that he wrote, the world's fittest book.
Ross Edgley, is that
Ross Edgley, right? Ross Edgley said everybody is an exception.
Yeah.
It's biological individuality. When we say, well, he's an outlier, he's an exception, everybody is. So let's stop saying well, he eats this, so let's apply it to everybody. No. I loved how Ross said that's what everyone is, right? Biological individuality, that's the principle. But there are foundational truths. Food is food is food. Protein will act in a certain way, fats will act in a certain way, and carbohydrates will act in a certain way. Where it comes from, what effects it has on you is up to you. I can't have alcohol. Alcohol will my body is just not able to absorb alcohol. I have a glass of wine and I get sick to my stomach, right? And even when I've visited some Anglican churches and I've shared communion, I will get a headache after communion. because just that little sip of wine and I get a headache. So, you know, and I've learned to live with that. But I have friends that, you know, they they have shelves of wine, and that's for today. You know, how do you do that? You know, so all biological individuality and seed oils and all of these things. There is no such thing as a bad food. It's the dose is the poison. It's water can kill you.
Yeah, that's true.
The dose is the poison. And there's chemicals in everything. Oh, that's got chemicals. Well, sweetheart, welcome to chemistry. You know, you know, there's arsenic in apple seeds. Does that stop you from eating apples? Let's get balance in here, right? Let's get some serious talking in here.
Well, they really should put warning labels on peanut butter, more than 2 tablespoons a day, and you will eat.
Yeah. But that was a great point. Like you're saying, everybody's an outlier. And I just wanted to share this. We probably all seen this before, the bell curve graph. Like we all fit on this somewhere. Like most of us are going to be in that 68%. We're going to be in the average range. Like that's why it's called average. Like, you know, most people are there. But then we have the outliers, the true outliers. Like, and I'll give you an example of that. Like, let's look at height. Like on the outlier scale, you got the giants of the NBA, you know, who are 6-7 feet tall. And then on the other end, you've got midgets or little people or whatever the technical term is that we're allowed to say these days. So I mean, and this applies with physical traits, just like height, just like skin color. You know, like you get some people who are blacker than black and some people who are albino on the other side and everything in between. And it also applies with dietary preferences. Some people have intolerances where they can't absorb certain foods. And then on the other spectrum, people have intolerances where they can't absorb, you know, the other foods. So that's why you might see someone say, "Oh, I'm a plant-based eater, and that works for me. I'm a meat-based eater, and that works for me." Most of us are in the middle, you know, where the well-balanced diet is going to work for most people. Now, when we find you know, the exceptions, okay, then you can customize things. But I always start with, you know, the well-balanced diet. Like let's focus on laying the foundation. Let's get a good solid eating plan in there. Let's go with like a third of your calories from protein, a third from carbs, a third from fat, eating natural unprocessed food. Let's start there. See how your body responds, and then we can tweak it accordingly. Right? Instead of going, well, I gotta cut out all carbs, right? Or I gotta cut out all meat, or I gotta eat 1 meal a day. And you know, like looking for the extreme. Find the happy medium first, and then we can adjust it accordingly from there.
And when I did carnivore those 7 months, my cholesterol, eating a lot of red meat, went up 153%. So yeah, that was too much. But it came down as soon as I went back eating chicken and whatnot. It came right back down. But yeah, the doctor was a little shocked when he saw that.
Well, that's so I didn't realize cholesterol is pretty much in red meat more than anything else as far as protein. Is that right?
Well, I think it has a higher
Higher.
amount.
Yeah. Same as eggs. Eggs has cholesterol in it.
Yeah.
And that's a challenging one too, because it's not always just because you eat cholesterol doesn't always mean that your cholesterol goes up. But
Right.
Mike's case, I mean, it's where you're eating nothing but meat.
Well, and as we have found out this past week, I have the hereditary preference for having higher cholesterol, which my dad had. Did I ever think to watch that? No, I never thought about it.
Because I'm being recommended to take statins at this point, and I get nervous about the side effects for your muscle pain and all that.
When I was obese, when I was well over 260 pounds, I was taking about 50 milligrams of statins.
Okay.
And as I got healthier, the amount of cholesterol medicine I needed got lower. And right now I'm at 10 milligrams. And that is because over the past 30 years, I had just devastated my body. And so but as I was repairing it with health healthy lifestyle and exercise and so on, things began to repair. And so my doctor was quite pleased to bring down my statin dosage from 50 to 10, but I will stay at 10 because my body has become badly damaged because of all of the problems I had created when I was obese. But for me to be at 10 milligrams of statin up every day is miraculous for some people. It's excellent.
Right. So it's preventative too, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And the doctor said the kind of statin I'm on is actually a very helpful kind. It will keep me well moderated. But there have been no restrictions as far as my meat or any of the foods that I've been eating. He said, and my doctor said, much like what Ross Edgley said, it's always on the individual. We look at your individual charts. We look at what you can take individually. Some people can have more, some people can have less. So if I see your cholesterol going up, I'm going to be talking to you about your diet. What are you eating? And I'll bring that moderated accordingly. But I'm not putting any restrictions on you. I just want to see what you're doing. But considering when you were 260, and he knew my before and after story, and now you're at close to now 150. He said, and seeing the change in your whole lifestyle, it's exceptional. But that's not my problem with people. They're going in the opposite direction. You were going down. You were repairing yourself with exercise. People are getting mega obese. They have created a new category. Well, maybe it's not new, but they have definitely been expanded what their concept of is morbid obesity, right? Before it was over 300 pounds. Now it's 400 and over is considered in the morbid obesity. Before that, they call it obesity type 3.
What was your cholesterol at your highest? Do you remember?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I wish I could remember, but it was bad.
Because I went from 235 to 195, which is still kind of borderline.
I think come to think of mine as well into 250, 260 range.
Yeah, so I'm a little nervous. All right.
Yeah, Scott, I'm on
Yeah,
statins. I've never had an issue with mine. Like I'm on 80 milligrams of Lipitor. I've never had issues.
All right.
I'm on 20.
Don't have grapefruit though. I'll just tell you that right off
I
the
can't
bat.
have grapefruit. Nope.
Don't have grapefruit.
Nuts.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
It'll negatively react with, and it's potent. It'll
Makes your body
Well, maybe
absorb
I
it.
should take grapefruit instead of statins. No, I'm glad you guys told me that. Thanks.
Yeah. So don't no grapefruit with your statin.
What is the effect of that, Paul?
It varies. It can cause heart arrhythmia.
Oh.
Yeah, and it depends on the individual, but it can cause significant palpitations. But it varies. But just its interaction is not encouraged. But
It's like any medicine. It seems like grapefruit's bad.
Yeah, it puts it in your bloodstream a lot more than normal. So
Okay.
it screws you up.
There's something in grapefruit where it prolongs the effects of things. Like I guess it hinders like the half-life and the breakdown. Like you've heard of the coffee and grapefruit diet, right?
Yes.
Like the whole idea,
Yeah.
like it prolongs the effects of caffeine in your system.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
If you want to get more bang for your caffeine, have a grapefruit with your coffee now. So then one coffee turns into two.
I'm going for the grapefruit diet now.
But it does. It's again, you can go in and ask ChatGPT or do your own search on this, but it somehow like affects the breakdown, and so it stays in your system longer, right? So I think that it's the case with a lot of things, but again, I don't know the chemical reactions why that is. It does for some reason.
It would be well worth checking it out, but it's pretty serious. You don't want to mess with it because the individual bodies will react with different degrees of severity. But my doctors told me no way do that because I've been very reactive with statins.
Yeah, it says right on the pill bottles, do not take with grapefruit.
I was just looking at my latest panel to see what my good cholesterol and bad cholesterol were. Good cholesterol is slightly low. Bad cholesterol, I'm at 60. You know, eating the amount of red meat that I'm eating is not really affecting that. And that's actually up 60% from what it was in July. July, my bad cholesterol was at 36. So it was even lower then. But we've also reduced the dosage of my statin.
So they do recognize they don't want you on any higher than they need to. So
Well,
there's
mine, they originally had me on 40 milligrams and we cut it to 20. And that was partly because that was one of the things that was making me extremely tired. And as soon as we half dosed that, it was a huge difference in energy and whatnot. And so far they're keeping me at the levels on all my medicines.
And then you got to factor into lifestyle in terms, not just your dietary lifestyle, but your activity. I mean, that has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Like if you take a sedentary person who's eating a lot of red meat versus an active person eating a lot of red meat, it's two totally different scenarios. Like the active person is just going to metabolize through the calories, the cholesterol, and everything else. Like a lot of these dietary suggestions, they're looking at the bell curve from their point of view. Like the average person's not spending 2 hours a day in the gym, right? The average person is overweight. Like even Paul mentioned, we even have to create new categories of what overweight is. But bottom line, the average person is overweight. That's simple. I mean, like just go out in public and look around. I mean, that's what they're basing their general guidelines off, and that's why it's nice when you can have a doctor who's familiar with, I guess, a healthy lifestyle and exercise. And okay, we need to adjust things based on your activity, your lifestyle, your situation, because it's not the same as 68% of the population or more, or whatever again, I'm looking at the bell curve. Like most people are in the middle, right? We have the outliers on each side. Well, obviously you're on the outlier on the fitness side, so we need to factor that in.
The world population figures are not promising. It's getting worse and worse. It's terrifying to see. Even with this surge of fitness in North America and other countries, the general creep toward greater degrees of obesity is moving inexorably to, I think by 2030, Canada will be 1 out of 3 Canadians will be overweight and obese. For us, that's bad.
I think it's like 45% now. Well, one thing, I went in to see my doctor. Well, my doctor retired, so I went to someone who recommended a doctor, and they gave me like a 40-page thing to fill out just to get this doctor. And I said, I can't remember his name, but he works out. And they all started laughing. They're going, he's the only doctor on our staff that works out. In other words, they're all big, except for this one doctor. So I'm like, that's why he doesn't take anyone on unless they work out or something. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it to see. Because when I first went in to see and I was overweight, I wasn't that bad. And the doctor looked at me like, you're fine. Like, don't worry, compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like,
The bar is set so low for fitness and health. I mean, it's sad. It really is. And I've noticed that around here because I'm spending a lot more time in the hospital lately because I'm taking my mother to her appointments and stuff. And every time I go into the hospital, I'm just blown away by how overweight the staff are, the nurses, the doctors, and just everybody. Like it's overweight is the new normal, right? Even in healthcare.
But it doesn't help when the general population is now shaming people for shaming or being overweight. Like when the phrase of body shaming, I mean, seriously, it's sad when you realize that you can't tell somebody or normalize, my friend, you're getting fat, you've got to do something. If a person's litigious, he would say, I'm taking, my lawyer will be contacting you. I can't, I'm very offended by what you said. It's getting seriously set out of hand. But
Paul, isn't that what happened to you? You would fight back when people would say that to you. Remember?
Yeah. Well, when I was much worse. I was much worse. Those guys were amateurs.
Oh my goodness.
So
I turned it around for you. What made you go from, I just want to fight this and you guys are shaming me? And
well, remember Lee and I did this marvelous interview, and I really wanted to end my life. I hated my life, Scott. And I inexorably wanted I ate and hid it from people. And I thought, if no one's going to take a hamburger away from you and thinking you're committing suicide. right? You know, get that
Right.
hot dog away. He's ready to jump. No, you know, it's like, I want another one. I got two. You know, people would feed you, so I
Right.
inexorably became that way. But it was not until I was in that hospital room and I was in excruciating pain and I went into unconsciousness and then came back again. And that doctor said, the universe has just given you a second chance. What are you going to do about it? And that, there are a lot of things around that was particularly meaningful for me, but those words burned right to my soul. And I knew that I've got to do something. This is it. This is my last chance. And that's what I thought, but I didn't know. So how am I going to do that? I had not a clue. And
Yeah.
we and I talked about that journey, but it was not easy. The mindset, I loved the gym. I loved the nutrition. I loved all of the things that Lee said I could do to do it. But it was my mind that I was battling every single day. I'm not like him. I'm not like Jeff with his six pack. I'm not like Mike with his fantastic quads. I don't have fantastic lats like Lee. I was just comparing, and I was battling this. But Lee had no problem getting me to the gym. I sent him report every single week, filled it all out, did it. But was I happy? No, because I didn't look like him, or didn't look like Mike, or didn't look like Jeff. And it took me months. And finally, Lee said, Paul, you need to be a little bit more grateful. You could have died. Rather than comparing yourself to everybody else, you stop to say thank you. And that I wouldn't say that turned me around, but that was tough love. And that really sent me in a different direction. Yes, I admire Jeff. Yes, I admire Mike. I'm a very different physique from both of them. But I've thoroughly enjoyed this bodybuilding journey. It's the only sport I can really do.
Well, you'd have to admire the new you versus your old you, right?
Yeah. And that was a very important thing. But I'm constantly excited about where I am now than where I was before, because I've seen what can happen. And I'm not holding myself. I don't mind going shirtless. I've never done that before, but I would always wear a shirt and never go out. Now I don't mind it at all, but I'm not, you can't grate cheese on my abs. Let's put it that way. But I love it. But I love the fact that I can take off my shirt and I look fine. I mean, considering that I'm 71 and most 71-year-olds are not quite looking like me. And I'm very happy with that. I love it. I love bodybuilding, but I'm not certainly what you would call a classic bodybuilder. I still remember Lee. I told that to Lee. That people said, "What do you do?" I like bodybuilding. What? Yeah, really? And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to show you pictures." And I went, "That's you? Yeah, and that's you? Yeah. Whoa, dude, respect, But when you look at me, I don't look like a classic bodybuilder. No way. But I love it.
I'm just impressed with the continuation. Like, how long ago did you start this journey?
When I was 62, right? 62.
Oh my gosh.
2017. Yeah, 2017 was
wow.
a pivotal year. So I've only been at it for 8 years, but
you've been hanging with Lee that long?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lee and I are buds.
Oh my God.
But just think of that though, Paul. Like you said, it's only been like 8 or going on 9 years now.
Yeah.
Like how many people stick to even a year? Like I know Scott was talking about your 2-year journey that you were talking about with the Facebook
I know.
and everybody's dropped out already, except for a couple people. That is remarkable. I mean, like that just shows like the level of dedication and commitment and just the desire and the passion. I mean, being still doing it. Just talk to your friends, your neighbors, even people at the gym. On and off, on and off. Oh, I got to get back to the gym again, or I've been working out for a few weeks, but then I fell off track. I got busy. I got this happened, that happened, work, family, kids, yada yada yada. On and off, on and off. Who can say I've been doing this for multiple years in a row? Very few people. I mean,
you've got to be stubborn, and I know Paul is. So this is
stubborn.
I'm not stubborn, but I would say I'm determined.
Or determined. That's a better word. Yes,
I'm very determined. But Lee has had to really talk me, and so is Mike. I still remember our conversations. He's talked me off so many ledges that I'm just very distressed about that. I don't look like so and so, and it's been a great conversation. But the one thing that we come back to is what will be sustainable.
And I love this new maturity and this new outlook of being happy with your own progress and not it's a fine line because I mean, yes, you can still be inspired by other people, but don't get discouraged by other people's progress.
But the happiness, that probably the happiest moment of my life was realizing that comparison can be a good thing, provided it stimulates you to do something better, right? So I look at somebody and I say, look at his intensity in the gym. Am I intense too? Look at his consistency in the gym. Am I consistent too? Look at somebody's diet. Am I following that rigorously too? Am I being true to what I'm supposed to have? Comparison is a wonderful tool when it's used well, when it's used with.
Well, that's a good point, because when I look at this, I go, back then I was thinking my legs aren't good enough, and like I was complaining, which is ridiculous. So
You
right
have
now
two
I
legs.
realize in 10 years I'll look back and go, Scott, what were you saying on that Lee conversation?
And one of my journeys has helped me to meet people who have physical struggles, physical damage, who are bodybuilders, who are missing a leg or an arm
Oh,
or
wow.
a hand. And they're phenomenal condition. But look what they've had to overcome. And I have the wheelchair athletes, wow, they're in incredible physical condition, but no legs. And they would give anything to have quads. So my conversation with them was very revelatory, but they said comparison is a great tool, use it well. But when it's bad is when it makes you say, I don't have this, I can't get this. That's when it's a bad. So a hammer a hammer can act like a saw. It's not very effective, but it can act like a saw. You can ream it against a board, but it's not very effective. And that's what comparison is like. You're using it like a hammer rather than a saw, right? So comparison is an excellent tool, provided it helps to push you to what is better, rather than make you frozen or paralyzed in what you do not possess. That's bad.
Yeah, I can kind of go both ways, because I can also go, well, I'm not as bad as I keep getting worse.
Yes,
That's
right,
true. That's another the other side of the spectrum, you know, if you're looking at it.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And that's what actually holds a lot of people back. I've had numerous conversations with people. Well, it's not that bad yet. Like
Right.
I remember there was a guy who wanted to join the coaching program, and I had, you know, during our initial call and stuff like that, he said, "Oh yeah, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape." He was 280 pounds, and then you know when we said, "Okay, it's just here's the price of the program." Oh, that's too much money. He said, "You know what? Second thought, I'm not going to join the program." He said, "It's not that bad yet. I'm only 280 pounds." He said, My friends are over 300 pounds. I'm only 280. Like I'm the skinny guy of my friends." So he talked himself out of joining the coaching program because it's not that bad yet. No, I haven't spoke to this person in years, but if he kept on that path, I'm sure he's joined the 300-pound club with his friends versus going the other way where, you know, he had a goal, oh, I want to get down to 200 pounds. I'm sure he more likely went to 300 pounds before he'll ever hit the 200, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that comparison can serve both ways. Or another one that I hear a lot too, especially amongst people who like to indulge in alcoholic beverages, right? I'm only drinking a half a case of beer a night. My own, geez, down the road, he drinks a full dozen beer every night. I'm only drinking 6 beer a night. I'm not as bad as him.
And that's the irony of the psychology of comparison.
Yeah. Right.
That is, it's a horrible irony. You can talk yourself into and talk yourself out of a lot of things. And they say your own worst enemy is you. It's not the guy not the guy next to you. It's you. You're the guy you need to convince.
You know, it's interesting how it's good to be exposed to some of this so that we kind of see the downside that we don't want to see that's actually there. I remember when I was younger and I was at a bar drinking, and this old dude, and we're all young people in the bar, and here's this old dude trying to hang with us, you know, and he's drinking, and I'm going, dude, you're so freaking old. You go hang with your old friends. Yes, but there were no old friends there because he's still doing the bar thing. And I was going, man, he's looking pretty yellow. And I'm going, man, I hope I'm not doing this at his age. And you know what? I could have been, because yeah, I get it. So there's phases in our life, and if we don't grow up and move on, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is with older people just giving up. It
Mhm.
gets a whole lot worse than when you're younger, I think.
The real nugget deep down inside what Leah is saying, and all of this, your food, your exercise, whatever it is what are you doing it for? Who
Why?
are you trying to become? Because if you are hungry and thirsty to change, you will do everything and anything to get there. But if there is just slightly, oh, I don't know about that, it's not going to work. But that phrase, those who hunger and thirst, who
Right.
do I want to become? What person do I want to change? If I'm content with who I am, nothing will change me. But if I'm not content and I'm hungry and thirsty to change, I will do everything and anything to get there. And that's what I believe. And yeah, I'm very excited about where I'm going, but I'm walking carefully, cautiously, not looking here, not looking there, looking at me in the mirror from yesterday. How am I today? When I look at yesterday, am I better? Am I more aggressive? Am I more enthusiastic? Have I got a better, more positive outlook on life? Am I eating responsibly rather than feeling I'm under restriction? But it's always that core. Who do I want to become?
I really like that. And I like how you mentioned too, like staying in the present moment. A few weeks ago, we were having a call, and I used the example that I learned from Mark Beaumont, who's the guy who cycled around the world and set the world record for it. His motto was ride the road in front of you. Like, don't get distracted, like what's coming up or what challenges are ahead or what challenges were behind. Like, just ride the road in front of you. Like, that's so same with this. Like, just focus on being better than you were yesterday. Like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do today? My next workout, my next meal. Like, ride the road in front of you. Don't be like, oh, well, the holidays are coming up, and because of that, I'm not going to be able to do this. And oh, I'll just wait till January 1st. And then you just blow off the next 2 months of training, right? Because you're thinking of, oh, well, Thanksgiving's coming up, and then the holidays are coming up. And no, can you go to the gym today, or can you go to the gym tomorrow? Like, can you eat a healthy meal for your next meal? Like, do that. Who gives a shit what's coming up in 3 weeks' time or 2 weeks' time or whatever? Like, do what you can do right now in the moment.
Because you may not have tomorrow.
You might not. That's
Right.
true. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow.
Nothing.
So the same brain that can say ride the road in front of you can say eat, drink, and be merry.
Yes.
Whose voice am I listening to today?
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
mean-
will say I had the third cardiologist last week tell me that if I had not gotten fit 5 years ago, I would be dead.
Really?
That's simple.
Wow.
Just about that, Mike. I mean, like, because at your heaviest, like you were around 220.
20.
Okay, so like if you were 20 or more, like if you kept going down that road,
Yeah.
with high blood pressure and all the health challenges that come along with that weight, and then you have these heart issues on top of that, yeah,
Right. And see, he confirmed because he went in and looked at it. My heart valve issue is a birth defect I've had for 62 years and didn't know it. And so your aortic valve is normally tricuspid. It has 3 flaps. I have 2.
wow.
Mine's bicuspid rather than tricuspid. So it lasted 62 years. I guess that's a good thing. I'm not real thrilled that we have to deal with it now, but it explains a whole lot of other health issues probably over the years that you didn't. I knew I had a heart murmur. I never knew what it was, and none of the doctors ever said, "Oh, this is probably what the problem is." And I was not smart enough to ask them. I've learned that lesson the hard way. Question the doctor.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared it because it certainly gives us food for thought as well. Like, just don't take everything as face value. Like,
Yeah.
be willing to question. And that's something that, like, years ago, you would never question a doctor's authority. Right?
No, I never have.
That was like gospel, if you will. Like they
Right.
say, if they say it, it's true, right?
Right. Like I said, I've learned that lesson the hard way.
But thank you, Lee, for this is a great conversation. This got to open up a lot of very important topics.
And as always, now we're going to get ready and clue it up. But thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for your feedback and insights. I mean, it was a great call. And hopefully we'll be able to do it again next week.
See ya.
Great.
Take care. All the best,
Take care,
guys. Well, that concludes another episode of the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast. Hopefully you found it helpful and got some value from this episode. And if you would like to leave your comments and feedback, then you can certainly do so down in the comment section below. And if you're listening in over on iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon, or whatever platform you're listening to this on, then you can leave your feedback and your rating over there, and it would be greatly appreciated. Now, if you would like some help with reaching your own fitness goals, be that building muscle, losing the gut, improving your health, and just getting in your best shape, then you might be interested in checking out the Muscle After 40 Blueprint Coaching Program. And this is a plan that I put together specifically for men over 40 who want to become the best version of themselves. And if you'd like to learn more about it, then I have a free PDF download that you can get in the show notes below. I have a link to it. And this outlines the entire system. It outlines our 3-phase method that we use for achieving a lean body recomposition and doing so while enjoying your life in the process. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go ahead and download a copy of that and then decide for yourself if the Muscle After 40 Blueprint program is a good fit for you. Well, that clues it up for today's episode, and we'll be back again now next week with another episode of the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast. Have yourself a great one, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care. Over and out.